Welcome to Sleepy History Stories. Before we begin, feel free to settle in, breathe slowly, and let the soft rhythms of the past wash over you. If you enjoy these calm journeys through history, you can support the channel by liking the video or subscribing for more quiet stories from long-forgotten worlds. Now let us drift into a gentle winter night in the Viking Age, where warm firelight glows through the wooden walls of a longhouse, and a feast begins to unfold. Imagine the world around you growing still, wrapped in soft darkness and drifting flakes of snow. The air carries a quiet chill, yet ahead of you a great timber hall rises out of the night, its sloping roof heavy with frost. Thin ribbons of smoke rise from the open smoke holes above, glowing with the orange breath of the fires within. You hear the gentle rumble of voices, the low clatter of wooden cups, and the soothing crackle of the Longhouse hearth that warms everyone gathered inside. As you step closer, you can almost feel the warmth streaming through the doorway. A curtain of thick wool hangs there, swaying slightly as people move in and out. When you lift it aside, a wave of gentle heat surrounds you. The smell of roasted meat, warm bread, and sweet mead hangs in the dim air. Soft rain and wind outside help the hall feel even more comforting, as if the night has folded itself around the building to keep everyone safe and sheltered. Inside, benches line the walls, covered with furs that make the room feel softer and more inviting. Candles made from tallow flicker with steady little flames, casting golden light across the carved beams above. These carvings show twisting dragons, curling branches, and the old stories of the Norse gods. The shadows move slowly and peacefully, giving the hall a dreamy and timeless feeling, as if each moment is stretched out just enough for you to rest inside it. People gather around the long wooden table in the center. They sit in loose, comfortable groups, speaking in low tones and laughing softly in the warm glow. The feast is not loud or wild tonight. It is a midwinter gathering meant for calm celebration after long months of hard work. You hear the clink of wooden ladles, the soft thud of bread placed on a table, and the gentle scrape of a clay pot as someone prepares to serve another dish. Your senses begin to adjust to the world of the Viking hall. The floor is made of packed earth, warm from the fire. The air is rich with steam from simmering stews. You notice a pot hanging over the main hearth, filled with boiling broth flavored with onions, leeks, herbs, and the gentle sweetness of root vegetables. The smell spreads quietly through the hall, soothing and familiar, like a home that has sheltered many winters. Tonight, the feast welcomes travelers, farmers, craftspeople, and family. People of every role in the village share the meal together, because food is more than food here. It is warmth, unity, and a moment of safety in a world that can often be harsh and cold. Even the animals outside, the horses and goats resting under their shelters, seem calm and still in the soft winter air, as if the whole settlement understands that this night is a pause from struggle. You find a place near the fire. A wooden cup is set before you. It is simple, carved by hand, smooth from years of use. Into it, someone pours a small amount of warm mead, honey sweet and pleasantly mild. The cup feels warm between your hands. As you lift it, you can smell the gentle sweetness rising like a soft haze. Nothing here is intense or overwhelming. Everything blends together with the quiet comfort of a long winter evening. Around you, the people begin to prepare the first dishes of the night. The hosts move slowly, almost ceremonially, carrying trays lined with dried fish, cured meats, and warm flatbread. Each dish tells the story of the land, the cold seas, the smoky hearths, the careful storage of food to survive the winter. The feast is about to begin, and the room fills with a sense of gentle anticipation. You settle in deeper, wrapped in soft firelight, ready to explore what the Vikings truly ate and drank on a winter night like this. The snow outside falls more steadily now, tapping softly against the wooden walls. Inside, the warmth surrounds you, steady and calm, inviting you to drift a little deeper into this world of flickering candles, simple food, and quiet community. Here in the Longhouse, the night stretches long and peaceful. The feast is only beginning. The feast begins slowly, the way winter evenings often do in the far north. There is no rush, no loud call for attention, only the quiet rhythm of people setting out the first dishes. The Longhouse fills with soft movement, like calm waves rolling through a sheltered bay. Voices remain gentle, the fire glows steadily, and the smell of warm food drifts through the room in peaceful layers. The first platters brought to the table do not aim to impress with grandeur. Instead, they reflect the heart of Viking life, shaped by the land and sea. A wooden tray is placed nearby, lined with dried fish that has been carefully prepared months earlier. The fish is firm, salty, and full of the rich flavors of the cold northern waters. Beside it sits a small bowl of butter, churned by hand, smooth and pale in the gentle light. People cut small pieces of fish, soften them with the butter, and place them on warm bread. Every bite is simple and steady, the kind of food that kept families strong during long winters. Next, you notice slices of cured meat, smoked slowly above quiet fires until the flavor settled deep within it. The meat carries a faint scent of birchwood, earthy and calm. These slices are passed around with no ceremony, only the shared understanding that this food represents patience, effort, and the quiet skill of preserving life during the coldest months of the year. Clay bowls appear, filled with warm barley. The grains are soft and comforting, flavored with herbs gathered in the warmer seasons. The steam rises in thin, soothing clouds. Barley is one of the most important foods in this world, dependable and gentle. It fills the stomach without heaviness and pairs with nearly every dish served tonight. Nearby, someone opens a pot of vegetable stew. Inside are soft pieces of carrots, leeks, onions, and turnips, simmered slowly until they almost melt. The broth tastes like winter comfort, mild, warm, and nourishing. The vegetables remind everyone of the farms that rest now under the snow, waiting for spring to bring them back to life. A basket of flatbread is passed around warm from the hearth. Each piece is slightly uneven, shaped by hand. The bread carries the faint sweetness of grains stored through autumn, and the soft smokiness of the fire used to bake it. People tear off small pieces, use them to scoop stew, or pair them with cheese made months earlier. The cheese is firm and slightly tangy, a gentle taste that lingers in the warm air of the Longhouse. Every sound around you remains calm. The soft crunch of bread, the wooden bowls touching the table, the quiet sigh of steam rising from hot dishes. The feast does not aim to impress with excess. It aims to comfort, to warm the body after days of cold work, to create a space where people loosen their shoulders and breathe more easily. Another dish arrives carried carefully by one of the hosts. It is a small bowl of berries preserved in honey. The berries add a touch of color to the muted winter world. their sweetness soft and soothing. People spoon small amounts onto bread or enjoy them by themselves, slowly savoring each bite as the flavor spreads across the tongue. At the center of the table, the main pot continues to simmer. You can hear the gentle bubbling, like tiny whispers rising from the broth. The pot holds a hearty pottage, thick with barley, vegetables, and small pieces of meat. This dish is the backbone of many Viking meals, comforting and dependable, ready to warm anyone who tastes it. The smell alone brings a sense of calm, as if the steam carries memories of countless winter nights spent beside the fire. As you taste the first dishes, you begin to understand that Viking food is not wild or aggressive. It is quiet and steady, shaped by the rhythms of seasons and the patience required to survive them. Every flavor is tied to the land, to the sea, to the long hours of preserving food so that winter nights like this one feel safe and warm. Around you, the hall glows with firelight. People eat slowly, speaking in soft voices. Outside, the winter wind drifts over the snow, whispering gently against the wooden walls. But inside, warmth fills every corner. The feast has only begun, yet it already feels like a small haven against the cold world beyond the Longhouse. And the deeper dishes are still to come. As the night deepens, the Longhouse settles into an even softer rhythm. The early dishes have warmed everyone, and now the heart of the feast begins to glow through the gentle tradition of warm drinks and honey brews. These beverages are not served with loud celebration. Instead, they flow quietly through the hall, bringing comfort, warmth, and a sense of calm connection to those gathered. The first drink placed before you is warm mead. The light flickering from the fire touches the surface of the golden liquid, making it shine softly like sunlight caught in a cup. Mead is made from honey, water, and thyme. It rests for months, developing a mellow sweetness that wraps itself gently around the senses. When you raise the cup, the warmth rises first, carrying a faint floral scent from the honey. The first sip settles into your chest like a small ember, steady and comforting. People around you enjoy it slowly. They savor it not for celebration, but for the way it loosens thoughts and softens conversations. Mead at a winter feast is something like a quiet promise that warmth can be shared, even on the coldest nights. Nearby, another drink is poured from a clay jug. This one is simpler, made from grains gently fermented into a light ale. It carries a mild earthiness, the taste of fields that now lie sleeping beneath layers of frost. The ale is not strong, and it is not meant to overwhelm. It is calm, familiar, and steady, something to sip while listening to the soft hum of voices around the fire. You notice that children are given different drinks. They receive warm milk flavored with a touch of herbs, often chamomile or mint dried from the summer fields. The milk releases a gentle steam that curls upward like pale threads of mist in the firelight. It is soothing, a small comfort for younger ones who sit close to their parents, drifting into sleep as the Longhouse grows warmer. In another corner, a pot hangs over the fire, filled with a dark berry tea. The tea draws its color from bilberries and lingonberries gathered during the brief warmth of the northern summers. The tea is tart but smooth, and its steam carries a clean, cold scent, like the memory of summer forests. It is often prepared for those who choose to avoid the stronger drinks, or simply for anyone who wishes to feel refreshed before the next dishes arrive. One of the most calming drinks at the feast is a warm herbal brew made from pine needles, juniper, or spruce tips. It has a bright, sharp scent that clears the mind, but the taste itself is soft and muted. This drink reminds people of journeys through winter forests, where every sound is muffled by snow and the air is thick with the scent of evergreens. It is a drink that quiets the body and brings a steady sense of grounding to the night. As these drinks circulate, the mood of the Longhouse deepens into something peaceful and reflective. People speak in low voices, sharing simple stories of their families, their work, and the world beyond the village. The sound blends with the fire, creating a soft, steady background that feels like a gentle blanket over the evening. Every so often, someone lifts a horn cup or clay cup in a small gesture of gratitude. There are no grand toasts, no calls for noise, only a calm acknowledgement of the warmth shared within these walls. The drinks bring not excitement but ease, as if each sip dissolves a little more of the cold carried in from the world outside. You can see the firelight playing across the wooden beams above, making soft patterns that flicker like ripples on water. The shadows sway gently as people move, and the air grows thicker with warmth and comfort. The Longhouse feels almost like a living being now, breathing slowly with its people, sheltering them through this long winter evening. Outside, the wind glides along the snowdrifts, brushing against the door in a quiet whisper. Inside, the drinks continue to pass from hand to hand, connecting the feast in a circle of warmth and calm companionship. The night moves deeper, and soon the heartiest dishes will arrive. But for now, the drinks hold everyone in a gentle stillness, a moment of shared peace at the center of the feast. As the deeper part of the evening settles in, the feast shifts from the warmth of food and drink toward the warmth of shared stories and quiet entertainment. Vikings valued community as deeply as they valued strength, and on winter nights like this, companionship becomes the quiet center of everything. The Longhouse glows with firelight, and the mood becomes softer, wrapped in a deep, steady calm. The hearth in the middle of the hall crackles gently, sending slow spirals of smoke upward through the smoke hole. The flames glow in amber waves, casting warm patterns across the wooden beams and fur-covered benches. People begin to lean back full from the earlier dishes, relaxed from the steady drinks, ready for the part of the feast that nourishes the spirit rather than the body. An elder rises first, moving with the slow confidence of someone who has lived through many winters. He carries no grand presence, only a soft voice and a memory full of quiet tales. He sits near the fire, letting its glow rest on his face, and begins a story in a tone as gentle as falling snow. His words drift through the Longhouse like warm smoke, telling of journeys across calm seas, of distant farms where the wind moves softly through tall grass, of quiet moments of peace after long days of work. The listeners close their eyes or stare into the flames, letting the simple rhythm of his voice soothe their thoughts. Nearby, a young storyteller adds her voice to the evening. She speaks with a slow, melodic cadence, her hands moving softly to shape her words. She does not speak of battles or danger. Instead, she shares memories of harvesting fields, of gathering summer berries beneath a warm sun, of watching the first frost settle on the wooden roofs of the village. Every story paints soft pictures, each one settling gently in the minds of those listening, like calm waves placing themselves upon a shore. After the stories, a musician lifts a small lyre carved from pale wood. He plucks the strings with steady, delicate movements. The sound is quiet, warm, and slightly trembling, like the faint edges of a dream. The melody flows through the longhouse, slow and simple, with long pauses that allow the fire to whisper between the notes. No one speaks over the music. People simply breathe with it, feeling each sound settle into the calm of the room. Another musician adds a soft rhythm with a small drum made from stretched animal hide. The sound is muted, gentle, more like a heartbeat than a drumbeat. It does not push the pace of the evening. Instead, it mirrors the slow relaxation of the longhouse, merging with the flicker of the fire and the low hum of winter wind outside. During these moments, children fall asleep beside their parents, curled beneath blankets lined with wool and fur. Their breathing blends with the warmth of the hall, and someone quietly adjusts a cloak to keep a little one from the draft of the doorway. The entire longhouse becomes a place where restfulness is shared, almost as if the walls themselves are exhaling. Occasionally, someone hums softly along with the lyre, their voice barely rising above the fire. Others nod slowly to the rhythm, eyes half closed. It is not a performance meant to impress. It is a memory meant to soothe, a shared experience meant to bind the village together during the darkest months of the year. In the quieter corners of the hall, friends exchange calm conversations. They speak about the winter so far, the slow strengthening of the ice on the river, the weight of the snow on the rooftops, and the promise of the days beginning to lengthen soon. These talks are gentle and unhurried, shaped by trust and familiarity, the kind of conversations that remind people that even in the coldest season, warmth is always present when company is near. The fire settles lower, glowing with deep red coals. Shadows lengthen across the carved wooden walls, shifting with the soft movements of the flames. The musicians rest their instruments, and the longhouse falls into a comfortable stillness broken only by the quiet crackling of wood and the slow breathing of the gathered people. This gentle entertainment, wrapped in story and sound, becomes the heart of the feast. It strengthens the sense of peace, allowing everyone to sink deeper into the calm of the winter night. Soon the final dishes of the evening will arrive warm and hearty, carrying the feast toward its restful conclusion. The longhouse settles into a deeper stillness as the night draws onward, and the warmth of the feast softens into a gentle quiet. The fire no longer leaps or crackles with intensity. Instead, it glows like a peaceful red heart in the center of the hall, its light drifting slowly over wooden beams, woven tapestries, and the calm faces of the people gathered within. Every flicker feels patient, steady, and unhurried, creating an atmosphere that rests halfway between wakefulness and sleep. As the final wave of dishes arrives, no excitement ripples through the hall. These foods are not meant to impress or overwhelm. They are meant to comfort. They are meant to settle gently upon the stomach and soften the thoughts of those who have shared the night together. The first dish is a warm, soothing porridge made from barley grains and milk. It is simmered for a long time, absorbing the creamy richness until it has become thick and velvety. A small drizzle of honey lies across its surface, glowing faintly in the firelight like a thin ribbon of gold. Bowls are passed quietly from hand to hand. The people who take them hold them close for a moment, letting the warmth seep into their fingers, their palms, and the cold tiredness that the long winter day has left behind. Each slow spoonful brings a gentle easing of the body. The porridge is soft, mild, and comforting, encouraging the mind to loosen its grip on the day. After the porridge, small roasted apples are carried in. They have been cooked slowly near the fire until their skins wrinkle and their insides soften into warm, sweet fruit. The scent of them drifts through the Longhouse like a calm whisper of autumn orchards. When eaten, the fruit melts gently on the tongue, releasing sweetness in a way that quiets the senses and soothes the thoughts. A final drink follows. It is not strong ale or sharp mead, but a mild herbal brew, created from dried summer flowers and warm water. The drink is pale, fragrant, and calming. It carries hints of meadow herbs and soft forest edges, reminding everyone that even though winter has wrapped the land in snow, the memory of green fields still rests quietly within their stores. Each sip smooths the mind and warms the chest, making sleep feel nearer and more welcome. People begin to lean back on the benches, wrapped in wool and fur. The warmth of the food and drink mingles with the glow of the embers, creating a deep sense of peace that settles slowly across the hall. The earlier laughter has grown faint, replaced by low murmurs and long stretches of silence. Even the smallest children have grown still, asleep or drifting towards sleep with their heads resting against the soft furs. Someone places another log on the fire, but even this simple act is done with slow, unhurried movements. The flames lift gently at the new wood, glowing softly rather than rising with excitement. The voices in the hall fade into distant hums. The wooden walls, warmed by hours of fire, seem to hold the heat and release it back in slow, comforting waves. This is the quiet heart of the feast, not the grand beginning filled with excitement, and not the middle filled with stories and music, but this calm winding down, this warm drift toward rest. It is a moment when people allow themselves to soften, to release the weight of daily responsibilities, and to sink into the shared comfort of the long night. Some begin to gather their cloaks, moving slowly as if wrapped in a dream. Others remain seated a little longer, letting the last warmth of the fire settle deep within them. No one is eager to leave, yet no one feels the need to stay. The night has guided everyone gently to this natural moment of quiet, where the feast transforms from an event to a memory. Soon they will step outside into the winter air, but for now the Longhouse holds them in a peaceful stillness, lit only by the gentle breathing of the embers and the soft rustle of fur cloaks settling into place. When the feast finally drifted into its gentle conclusion, the Longhouse began to soften into a quieter world. Voices that once rose with laughter now fell into relaxed murmurs that blended with the low crackle of the long central fire. The scent of roasted meat, baked bread, smoked fish, and warm herbs lingered in the air, gently mixing with the clean, cool draft that slipped in through the wooden gaps in the walls. A soft hush settled over the great room, the kind of hush that arrives only after many hours of shared food, shared stories, and shared warmth. It was a hush, not of emptiness, but of contentment, like a blanket drawn over an entire gathering of tired and satisfied souls. The Longhouse began to dim as the fire burned lower. The once tall and steady flames became a slow rhythm of glowing embers, each one pulsing gently in the red and gold bed of heat. Their light shimmered across the carved wooden beams overhead and the smooth surfaces of the long benches, creating the quiet illusion of a place breathing in sleep. The walls, dark with smoke from many years of fires, seemed to lean inward in a protective way, holding the warmth in place as the cold northern night continued its silent approach outside. Beyond the entrance, the icy wind whispered along the grassy ground, carrying the faint scent of snow that would settle by morning. Families prepared their resting places. Some spread soft fur blankets across the benches, tucking their children close. Others moved to the corners where woven mats and animal hides could be arranged into small, peaceful nests. The younger people, exhausted from dancing and singing earlier in the evening, curled up quickly and drifted into sleep while still wrapped in the warmth of the feast. The elders rested more slowly, closing their eyes with the familiar calm of those who have seen many winters and who understand the rhythm of long northern nights. The room filled with the gentle sound of steady breathing, the breath of dozens of people sharing the same shelter, the same warmth, the same night. Some remained awake a little longer, seated near the fire with cups of mead or warm herb drink. Their conversations shifted into softer topics. They spoke of the weather to come, of the work waiting when the sun rose again, of memories from past feasts, and of the ancestors who once gathered in the very same hall. The flames cast faint glimmers across their faces, highlighting the thoughtful expressions of those who felt the quiet magic of the moment. Nights like this held a special meaning in Viking communities, because they were not simply celebrations, but reminders of how deeply people relied on one another to endure the long, dark seasons. Outside, the village lay still beneath the winter sky. The stars shone with a pale, cold sharpness, and the moon cast a muted glow on the wooden rooftops. Frost gathered along the edges of the Longhouse, and the faint sound of distant waves echoed from the shoreline. Every now and then, a soft gust of wind would pass through, carrying with it the scent of sea salt and snow. The night belonged to the land, to the shifting tides, to the cold that shaped every part of northern life. But inside the Longhouse, warmth held steady, wrapped around everyone like a protective embrace. As the final embers dimmed, the line between waking and dreaming grew thin. Thoughts drifted slowly, gently, almost as if the mind floated on a quiet sea. It was in these late moments that the Longhouse felt most peaceful. The festival had ended, but its warmth still lingered. The stories told earlier in the evening now echoed softly in memory, settling into the long tradition of winter feasts that stretched across generations. The food, the drink, the laughter, and the shared silence all became part of the same gentle tapestry, one woven from the simple rhythms of life in the far north. The Longhouse did not fall suddenly into stillness. Instead, it eased itself into a deep, slow quiet, as though drifting into sleep alongside the families within it. The soft glow of the last embers illuminated the wooden beams for a moment longer, and then the shadows grew deeper, turning the great hall into a sanctuary of rest. Outside, the night carried on with its solitary calm. Inside, peace settled over everyone until only the steady whisper of breathing and the faint sigh of the winter wind remained. It was the kind of night that lasted long in the memory, gentle and unhurried, a perfect ending to a feast that celebrated not only the food and drink of Viking life, but also the quiet comfort of community in a cold and ancient world.